let's talk about a real-life David versus Goliath story. Imagine a sport that's been dominated by the same handful of titans for decades. Then, out of absolutely nowhere, a complete unknown doesn't just win, they completely rewrite the rulebook. Well, that's exactly what just happened in Superbike racing. And trust me, it's a story you have to hear to believe.
So get this, for 37 years, the World Superbike Championship has basically been a private club. Victory? Oh, that belonged to just a few legendary manufacturers. A dynasty that, honestly, seemed completely unbreakable. You know the names, right? Ducati, Yamaha, Honda. They are the absolute kings of this sport. But this year, a new name showed up on the list, one that nobody recognized, Zhang Xue Motors. I mean, talk about a newcomer going up against a wall of giants. And then, on a rainy track in Portugal, the impossible happened. This newcomer didn't just compete, they took first place. In a single, unbelievable race, they completely shattered that 37-year monopoly. Know China to do better business. Save time and money with expert insights on China trade and investment. Welcome to Trade with China. Okay, so to really get the scale of this, you need to understand this wasn't just any race. This is the World Superbike Championship, the WSBK. Now, unlike other top-tier races that use these crazy one-off prototypes, WSBK uses production vehicles. You know, the kind you can actually go out and buy. It is the ultimate test of a manufacturer's real-world engineering skill. And check out the winning margin. A 4-second lead in this sport? That's not just a win. That is total domination. It's the kind of performance that makes the entire industry just stop and stare. And to prove it wasn't some fluke, they did the exact same thing the very next day, winning a second race. Unbelievable. But here's the thing. This victory, as amazing as it is really just the final chapter of a much, much longer story. To really understand how this happened, we've got to go back 20 years to this old documentary that just resurfaced about a desperate, mud-covered teenager. So the year is 2006. A TV news crew in China starts getting these relentless phone calls from a 19-year-old kid named Zhang Xue. He's begging them to come film a story. And this old footage, which just went viral, shows us exactly where this whole journey began. The crew, who were, let's be honest, pretty annoyed by this kid, finally agreed to meet him. But when they saw his beat-up motorcycle that could barely even make it up a small hill, they just lost all patience. They figured he was just some delusional kid, so they packed up their gear and drove off. But what happened next? This is the stuff of legend. Zhang Xue hops on that broken bike and just starts chasing their car. In a 10 Celsius, that's about 50 Fahrenheit, freezing rainstorm, he chases them for over 100 kilometers through these dangerous, winding mountain roads. It was just an act of pure, unbelievable determination. When the reporters finally pulled over, just completely stunned, he said to them through chattering teeth, "I'm not afraid of hardship. I'm afraid of not getting a chance." And it was that raw, desperate plea that 2 decades later captured the hearts of millions. The crew ended up following him to his training ground, which wasn't a professional track, but a deserted, muddy riverbank. The locals actually called him the Wild Man because he would just ride and crash, get back up, ride and crash all day long. Turns out, he dropped out of school at 14 to fix bikes and opened his own repair shop at 17, funding his own dream. At the end of the documentary, he shared this philosophy. But back then, even with this incredible story, no professional teams called. No sponsors reached out, absolutely nothing happened. It really seemed like that desperate chase in the rain had been for nothing. But that failure, that wasn't the end. It wasn't even close. It was just the beginning of a 20-year grind. The kid from the documentary didn't give up. He just got to work. So fast forward 7 years, and he moves to China's motorcycle capital with barely any money. By 2017, he co-founds a successful company, growing it into a major player. But then, and this is the crazy part, in 2023, right at the peak of his success, he walks away, gives up all his shares to start completely over. 1 year later, he founds Zhang Xue Motors, and just 2 years after that, he wins the World Championship. So this brings up a huge question, right? Especially for anyone in business. Why on earth would you walk away from a successful company that you built from the ground up? Well, the answer reveals the core principle that led to his incredible victory. He left because of a deep disagreement over something I'm calling the purity principle. And this philosophy, it really explains his entire journey, from that muddy riverbank all the way to the winner's podium. At its heart, the principle is this obsessive, relentless focus on the product itself, above everything else. For Zhang, this was completely non-negotiable. He believed that to build a truly great motorcycle, you had to build your own engine. Using someone else's technology was just unacceptable. He wanted pure, in-house innovation, no matter what it cost.
And this reveals such a huge difference in mindset. You know, the dominant business model today is all about quick returns, right? Use existing tech, get a product to market fast, and then fix it later. Zhang's model is the complete opposite, a long-term, painful, expensive focus on R&D and perfection. He actually insisted his first bike run for 1 million kilometers in testing before a single one was sold to a customer. And this wasn't just talk. The numbers really back it up. In 2025, his brand new company invested nearly 10% of its total output value directly back into research and development. For a startup, that is a massive, high-risk commitment to product purity. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, for entrepreneurs, investors, or really anyone doing business with China, this story reveals a powerful and I think emerging dynamic in the market. The market responded instantly. In the 4 days, just 100 hours after his victory, his company received over 5,500 new orders. Consumers voted with their wallets, proving that a long-term, painful commitment to quality can create incredible brand loyalty and massive demand.
You see, in the end, his secret was never about having more talent or more money or more luck. It was about one simple, incredibly difficult choice: continuing to push forward at the exact moment when any rational person would have given up and gone home.
After his historic win, Zhang Xue sent a message across 2 decades to that 19-year-old kid chasing a news van in the freezing rain. He said, "I've waited 20 years for this moment. I want to say to the Zhang Xue of 20 years ago, you succeeded. We won." It's such a powerful end to a 20-year grind, and it leaves a pretty provocative question for all of us. What are we willing to chase, even in the rain? This channel will bring you practical knowledge to navigate business, investment, culture, economic trends, and communication tips and trades with China. Your comments really encourage us to realize our video value and update more useful information. Please press like, subscribe now for actionable insights and win-win solutions, not to miss the possibility to understand and make money in trades with China.